All right, got to let it breathe while we get the Facebook groups in here. Hopefully, I know we were having issues with one of the Facebook groups this morning. Hopefully, whatever that is was. Uh-oh. It is not allowing me to add them.
I can try on my end really fast.
Yeah, it is not allowing me to add them.
Yeah, no, it's not allowing me to add them either.
All right.
Let me try it
I
again really fast.
guess let me shoot a message to Chad here real quick. Um Sorry about this, having technical difficulties that we've never had before.
I
The
was gonna
reasoning
say,
it's
yeah,
given
this
us is
is
something that is weird.
select an orientation for this destination. Hold on. I think I figured it out. The orientation is not set up.
The issue is there's too many URLs in the description.
Oh, try
So
that.
I'm
Nope.
gonna shut off a message to Chad here because I don't know what ones he wants to get rid of or anything like that. Because it says we're allowed a max of 10.
Technical difficulties. You gotta love it, guys. We do apologize for the
And as far as I can tell, we're not at 10.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here.
Anyways,
Regardless,
we'll leave it at that and just get on with the show, I guess. All right. Thank you, Todd. I appreciate that. Have a sick kid. Now it's not letting me out of the menu. There we go. Have a sick kid, and during this time of year, I always let the kid pick out the hats and that. And I've been forgetting since we started the month of December and started remembering. And she decided on this one after choosing Grogu this morning. But anyways, welcome into another episode of Dove Valley Divers. We're gonna have to wait on the technical issues with Facebook, so thank you guys for joining us over on Facebook or on YouTube. I mean, some of you who do also have a Facebook, if you guys wouldn't mind possibly going over there and just leaving a message of, hey, we're live over on YouTube, having issues on it, at least until I hear back from Chad about what to do. That would be much appreciated. But we do thank you guys joining us in on this wonderful Friday night. Less than a week until the big holiday, my favorite time of year, and hopefully just a few days away from Denver clinching the division and clinching the number 1 seed in the AFC. Though they need help for it. It starts off with a win. But before we get to that, Lance, how are you doing today, my man?
Doing good, man. It's been a rough week in the Sanderson household. Not going to get into all of that right now. Just pray for my family. It's good to be here on a Friday, to tell you the truth. It's just needed a distraction. But no, doing good. Otherwise, it's been a long week. Breaking down some of this Jaguars tapes has been really fun. I'm really, really excited to get into this with you and have a conversation about Broncos football on a great Friday evening, man. So how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. As I said, I have a sick kid, which means, I don't get a whole lot of sleep because she takes my spot on the bed and because she always becomes a mommy's girl during that time. And I get stuck sleeping out on the couch, which isn't so much sleeping as it is just little cat naps here and there, especially with an annoying cat. That is bothersome because things aren't the normal. Anyways, we're here to talk about this football game that we have coming up. It is one of the, another tough game. The Broncos had one of the toughest remaining schedules, the third toughest prior to the Packers game, and it still remains one of the toughest. The Broncos are getting healthy. So are the Jaguars. Congratulations to Todd. Said he won the lottery. Congratulations on that. Well, not the big prize, but still won. Hey,
there you go.
Still awesome. Any winnings is, it's something you didn't have before. But this Jaguars game, it's an interesting one. I have more concerns with this game than I do the Jaguars game, but I'm still pretty confident that in the Broncos walking out with a win in this one, Lance.
I'm right there with you. That Packers game, there was a lot of concern, especially with the way that Jordan Love just can create so many explosive plays, and that was on display, especially in the first half. I mean, Jordan Love could do pretty much anything he wanted to with the football. He was attacking downfield at will, attacking over the middle of the field, threw a great ball to Josh Jacobs in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown against Dre Greenlaw, who was draped all over Josh Jacobs in coverage. I mean, you can't play that ball really any better than the way that Greenlaw did without knocking the football out of his hands. It's just it's a great throw, a great catch. It's impossible to be 100% perfect, especially playing defense in that kind of a scenario. So, but the bigger takeaway I have from that Green Bay Packers game was not only did Jordan Love moved the football at will, Bo Nix did too. And he took a gigantic step forward, not only with his patience in the pocket, his ability to move the football down the field, extend plays with his legs, find open receivers over the middle of the field, be creative, which is something that I know that according to national media pundits all over the place, they think that he's not a real like creator in terms of throwing the football. He was creative and he hit big time throw after big time throw after big time throw, had a couple of turnover worthy plays in there too, still graded out very highly. It was the best game of his career without question. I said that against the Kansas City Chiefs. I thought he had a good game against the Raiders, a good game against the Commanders. Then he comes out, drops 300 yards, 4 touchdowns against what is considered a very high quality defense, a playoff team. And now you get to translate that this week into another high quality defense, another defense that can get after the quarterback. They stop the run really well. But the evolution of the Broncos offense over the last 4 weeks has been absolutely tremendous to watch, man. And I'm super, super excited to watch this game.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. It is gonna be a little bit of a shorter show today, as you know, sick kid. I got to get to dad duty, and then some other stuff going on. So it's gonna be a little bit of a shorter show. But before we get really into the meat and
potatoes,
I totally even lost the saying mid sentence. Of the show, we're gonna say hello to some people here in the chat. We have Andrew coming in saying keep up the good work, MHH. Todd, of course, coming in saying that he won the $100 in the lottery. I hope to see a $100 super chat here soon, Todd.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations again. It's always cool for stuff like that. Sue Gibson coming in saying hi, Todd. Hope you're having a good night. Mark saying Lance was spot on with his 2-pick prediction. Lance, you finally got something right.
I think I've gotten a handful of things right over the course of my career, but it's way fewer times than the things that I've gotten wrong. And I'm going to be the first one to admit that
Mayock and Gruden are doing such a great job with the Raiders.
What?
You will never live that one down.
I stand by what I said, though. If you put it in the full context, I stand exactly by what I said.
You will never live that one down. But Chase Wallner coming in saying DVDD with the fist bump. Mike S saying what's up, Eric Lance and Broncos country. We have Xavid.net saying, hope everything turns out okay, Lance. We are all here for you on your lunch break enjoying the show from San Diego. Let's go MHH and Broncos country. I've been to San Diego a few times, Lance, and the last time I was there was flying back from the meet and greet in October.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, I spent an hour sitting on the tarmac in the plane waiting to pull up so I can deboard and get my next plane. Right in the sun. I was dying. It was so hot. But man,
that was in October too. So October in San Diego has got to be like 85 degrees outside of it. I've heard nothing but nice things. Never been. Always have wanted to go and go
beautiful
on vacation
place
in San Diego. So it looks beautiful. It sounds great. I've never been there, and hopefully I'll be able to get there soon.
Yeah, beautiful place. Love it when I've been there. When I'm not stuck in a plane in the sun on the tarmac, worrying about missing my next flight because I seriously had to get off the plane and run to my next gate to board. Like it was a disaster of a trip.
That's unfortunate.
This year flying back, but anyways, not here to talk about that. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for joining us again on this wonderful Friday night. You're talking about Bo Nix and the way you were doing, what he's been doing over the last few weeks. I think it's pretty safe to say that he's kind of been cash money. Since the mini bye week against the Raiders, and Denver needs him to continue being cash money as we go forward. But speaking of cash money, Lance.
Yeah, guys, the holidays are all about finding the perfect gift, but this time of year, not every deal is actually what it seems, guys. Scammers are getting more creative to trick people into sharing their payment info through methods like fake shopping sites, giveaways that are too good to be true. Luckily, Cash App's 24/7 fraud monitoring alert helps detect and alert you for unusual card activity should someone gain access to your card. So you guys can act fast if something seems off. You guys can also lock or unlock your Cash App card instantly right in the app for extra control and peace of mind. Stay one step ahead of scams this season. Keep your money secure with Cash App.
For a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real, just download Cash App, use our exclusive referral code SECURE10 in your profile, send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Promotions provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit Cash App/legal/podcast for full disclosures. And thank you, Cash App, for the sponsorship.
Thanks,
But
Cash App. We appreciate
getting to this game forward, upcoming. First off, injury report, something we always talk about. Denver's getting some guys back. Justin Chennaud's not expected to be back, but it's looking like Ben Powers will be activated. And they kind of touched on it today. It sounds like if he is activated, that he may start, but it sounds like we might be getting a rotation at left guard between him and Alex Palczewski. Hopefully Ben Powers is good enough to go, because I am tired of seeing Alex Palczewski out there on the field. He has been absolutely terrible. And then there's also the option that maybe they can make another spot for him. But Karine Reed, they also opened his practice window open with Justin Strnad injured. He was there helping out on special teams early in the season. And, he's been dealing with a hamstring injury, I believe. So there's a possibility that they get him back as well. But it does look like at least Ben Powers is back in that rotation. As for the Jaguars, Bashal Tutin, he is out for this game, as is Danny Strigo. He is out, as well as is Jalen McLeod, one of their linebackers. They do have a unspecified tag on Walker Little and Trayvon Walker, which typically suggests they will be good to go. We're going to get more into Walker Little here in a little bit when we dive into the matchups more, because it's not clear if he's going to be starting or if they're going to keep going with Cole Van Lanen, who's been starting over the last 2 weeks while Walker Little was out with a concussion. But we'll get into that here more in a little bit. But overall, these are two relatively healthy teams. So it's pretty much at this point of the year, relatively healthy, that are going for it. And there is a lot on the line. This game has the biggest impact on the AFC playoffs out of all the games left this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I think it was The Athletic dropped a graphic. I want to get back to Ben Powers here in a second, but the Athletic dropped a graphic that said if the Broncos win at least 2 of their next 3 games, not only will they more than likely secure the number 1 seed in the AFC, they obviously would win the AFC West. So first things foremost, and this is the one thing that Sean Payton has kind of talked about at will here over the last couple of days, that the work's not done. This game against the Green Bay Packers was a great win. It was something they needed to do to prove to everybody we are actually legit, but we're not done. The biggest goal here, first and foremost, win the AFC West. You have an opportunity to do that this week with a win against the Jacksonville Jaguars and a Los Angeles Chargers loss to the Dallas Cowboys. I believe that game is that game in Dallas or is it in LA? I don't remember off the top.
It's in Dallas.
It's in Dallas. Okay, so there you go. Dallas goes out there with that explosive offense and runs up to score a little bit. The Broncos could win the AFC West this week. You need a loss from the Bills and a loss from the New England Patriots this week as well. And if all 3 of the Chargers, the Bills, and the Patriots lose and the Broncos win, you not only win the AFC West, you secure the number 1 seed in the AFC going into the playoffs this week. Like, there's a lot on the line in this game. And that's why I think that there's been some people around Twitter saying that they're not sure if the Broncos are going to be able to match up well with this Jaguars team, because there is some definite mismatch opportunities that the Jaguars can bring to the table, especially offensively. And with the way that team is so hungry to prove themselves at 10-4 that they are truly a contender in the AFC, I think that the Broncos and their mentality right now, the strength of this locker room, the strength of their head coach, and the way that they continue to say that we're not done yet. We are not done yet. We still have more work to do. I think the Broncos are going to come out firing against a very hungry team in the Mile High City with a badass defense and a badass crowd behind them, man.
Yeah, their defense needs to bounce back. They've had some issues over the last few weeks. Against the Packers, fortunately, it was only in the first half. But on that note, season-wide, Denver is 12th in EPA allowed per play defensively in the first half. They are now 3rd in the second half in defensive EPA. So they are a much better second half defense, but got to be careful against this Jaguars team. They can score quickly and Denver's got to be prepared for that. But we have Papa Bear coming in, David McIlrath coming in with a $2 super chat saying, Merry Christmas, Broncos country. 14-3. You've raised it up. You've gone from 13-4 to 14-3. I'm still sticking with 13-4. But Merry Christmas to you, Papa Bear. Happy holidays to everybody else who's coming in.
Yes,
There's
Merry
so many
Christmas.
holidays during this time of year. So whatever holiday you happen to celebrate, if any, well, I hope you have a great day. Happy holiday. And if you don't celebrate anything, I hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday. And hopefully we'll be celebrating at the very least a Broncos clinching
win.
because
Broncos win.
going back to the clinching scenarios, it's unlikely the Browns beat the Bills this week. That's that one game that may not go the way Broncos country wants. But no matter what, if the Broncos win this week and the Broncos beat the Chiefs on Christmas Day, doesn't matter. That's it. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC. They clinch their division. 2 wins. That's all it takes, and it starts with the Jaguars. They can afford to lose to the Jaguars because they still remain in control of the AFC West, of the AFC, with 2 games left, because they had that game up on the Patriots for the conference. They have 2 games up on the Chargers and the Bills, Chargers for the division and Bills and conference, and the Bills for the conference as well. So they have that lead, and they own the tiebreaker over the Patriots at least. So they have a little bit of leeway. In Lance, one thing about this team, talking about the mentality of it, they have really embraced the underdog mentality. Bo Nix has come up with the nickname the Overdogs for them, because people still manage to find ways to count them out, and they still come out to win. And, I keep seeing it a lot this week. Even though they're not technically the underdogs per Vegas, they're viewed as underdogs by a lot of NFL analysts. But speaking of underdogs, Lance.
Yeah, guys, football season is in full swing, and Underdog Fantasy is the best place to get in on all of the action. Are you guys ready to get off the bench and get into the game? Head over to Underdog, guys. Whether you're into basketball, football, hockey, any sport in between, Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action all season long.
That's right. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and so much more. Get your picks right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash.
Yeah, guys, I have a lot of fun playing Underdog. I had a $200 parlay a couple weeks ago, lost my last week, so unfortunately, it is what it is. But guys, winning money while watching football, watching sports, watch it, whatever gets your fancy, guys, that's a touchdown. It's a basket. It's a home run. Guys, download the Underdog app today and sign up with the promo code MHuddle to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Again, guys, promo code MHuddle. Millions of fans have already won billions of dollars making picks on Underdog. Will you guys be next?
18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
And thank you, Underdog, for that. We appreciate you. I see Todd coming in talking about super chatting and having some errors. I am not sure what to tell you with that. It's unfortunate. We appreciate you. We appreciate you trying to show your support and everything. But that is something that you'd have to contact YouTube through, and I know contacting YouTube support is absolute mess. And then getting back to this game against the Jaguars, I kind of touched on it with Walker Little. Cole Van Lanen, he's been playing great over the last 2 games. He's allowed 1 pressure in the last 2 games that he started at it, and it's unclear if he's going to remain the starter or Walker Little. Did some digging into it, and we had one Jags beat guy saying that it's going to remain Van Lanen. We had another Jags beat guy saying that they're going to turn to Walker Little. So it's unclear, but either way, Denver, I think, owns the matchups across the board against this offensive line. As good as Van Lanen has been, he isn't a guy who can hold up well or matches up well against Nick Benito. Anton Harrison on the other side, he's a technical mess, doesn't have much sand in the pants, can't really anchor, and that's, all those contribute to where Jonathan Cooper excels at. You have Patrick McCarry, who will probably do well in the running game against Zach Allen, but Zach Allen should absolutely own that matchup in the passing game. And Ezra Cleveland, he's been really beat up. He's been really solid for them. And that's probably the main area where the Jaguars do have an advantage on it. And then center position, DJ Jones and Malcolm Roach should be able to handle the job there. And holy cow. Thank
Chris
you
Hernandez.
so much, Chris. We appreciate this coming in. I am at a loss for words. Saying happy holidays, guys. Thank you for all you do. Go Broncos. Click those little thumbs up. Thank you so much, Chris. We appreciate it so much. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Whatever holiday it is you happen to have. Appreciate it a lot. More than words can express. Don't want to get into all the, super sentimental stuff about it, about the sad aspects for my family at this time of year. But I appreciate it so much. And thank you. And again, hope you have a wonderful holiday, whatever one it is you happen to celebrate.
Yeah, Chris, happy holidays, whether it's Christmas, Hanukkah, Boxing Day in Canada, whatever holidays you guys are celebrating out there. This means a lot, Chris. It really does. This is off the top rope, and at a loss for words. And like Erick said, I don't want to get into it. I've got some personal stuff going on with my family. We had a loss in our family last night, so this just means a lot, guys. It means more than I can even put into words, man. Like this is tremendous. I really, really appreciate it. We appreciate you for your generousness on this one. I'm not gonna. I don't really know what else to say. Like I'm actually kind of starting to tear up. I appreciate it. We appreciate it, Chris. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
man.
Again, words cannot express how thankful we are for that. And again, hope you have a wonderful holiday. If it's Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever holiday you celebrate, or Happy Thursday if you don't celebrate any. Yeah, thank you so much. But
Happy New Year, if nothing else.
Before we go into it and kind of get away from the sentimental stuff, I mean, Lance talked about how his family suffered a loss. My family, I lost my grandmother on Christmas a few years ago, and it's still tough. So it's always makes this time of year tough, especially with a lot of the traditions that my family does, all stems from my grandmother. But anyways, away from the sentimental stuff, back to football. Thank you guys for your support, especially for Lance with the recent loss from last night. And again, as Todd says, thoughts and prayers to you and your family, Lance. Definitely.
Thanks.
We're all here with you. And hopefully Denver will be too, and they beat the Jaguars. And hopefully the cow chickens. I can't refer to them as I normally would. It'd get us demonetized. But hopefully the cowgirls do their job and beat the Chargettes, and the Ravens beat the Cheatriots, and the Browns beat the Bills. I actually have a soft spot for the Bills after all they've done and have gone through, so I'm not going to insult them. But the Cheatriots and the Chargettes and the cowgirls definitely deserve it. Yeah. But anyways, back to the offensive line. I think there is a major advantage for the Broncos when it comes to the trenches on both sides of the ball, even.
I'm sorry, I was wiping my eyes. What did you say? I missed everything you said.
I think the Broncos have an advantage in the trenches on both sides, both their offensive line against their defensive line, and then the Broncos defensive line against their offensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to what you mentioned, Ben Powers being potentially lifted off of injured reserve this week. The Broncos waived Calvin Throckmorton earlier in this week, and that was kind of a sign that Ben Powers is going to be back this week. And you said that Alex Palczewski has been awful. I think he's played admirably in a backup role, miscast in a position that's he's not used to playing. So
people use admirably to say you've been playing bad, but hey, at least you're out there playing.
But at least you're out there on the field, and there's been some rough. There's been some good, but there's been a lot of rough. And I'm not going to miss words on this one. It's been not great, but you get your starting left guard back, and I know that when you look at the numbers here, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense when you watch the tape compared to the numbers here. The Jaguars are the number one run defense in the NFL in terms of yard per game, and I think they're number 3 in terms of average yards per carry allowed. They're like 8th in EPA per rushing attempt, and they're 16th in yards before contact per rush, according to NFL Next Gen stats. Like they play well against the run, but they've faced the fewest rushing attempts allowed in the NFL, only below the Denver Broncos. 311 rushing attempts for the Jacksonville Jaguars against opposing offenses this year. When you go back and you watch the tape, the New York Jets, who have a not great offensive line and a really good high-quality running back in Breece Hall, they had success throughout that game. It was a bunch of critical turnovers, a bad special teams error that wiped a punt return touchdown off the board for the Jets. In that game, I understand it was a blowout and the Jets defense couldn't do anything to stop Trevor Lawrence. But you go back and you watch the tape and like you can see a lot of success. There's a lot of open running lanes. I went back and watched the Houston Texans game from week 10, where the Jaguars were up 17-0 in the first quarter. They were up 20-10 at halftime, blew a 17-point lead in that game, and they were up, I believe, 13 in the fourth quarter, and still managed to figure out a way to lose that game because the running game from the Houston Texans just managed to figure out gash plays. They stuck with that running game, and I think that the Broncos need to do that again this week. And we talked about it last week against the Green Bay Packers. Running duo against this Jaguars front, you can get a lot of displacement. You can move guys around on their defensive line, particularly in their interior defensive line. So talking about Erick Armstead, who's a solid run defender. Travon Walker on the outside, you can move him around as well. Devon Hamilton hasn't played very well at nose tackle. Like there's an opportunity here. If you stick with the running game, you can actually run the football against this team and kind of take the wind out of their sails offensively by just making them have to be explosive offensively. So if you can control the ball, control the clock, again, just the same way you did against the Raiders a couple of weeks ago, again, the same way you did against the Green Bay Packers, you can find a way to gain success on the ground against this Jaguars defense.
Yeah, Denver's just got to find a way to not waste downs running the ball.
Exactly.
Like,
yep.
That's what it comes down to. And when you're talking about the Jaguars defense and what they've done against run, you also look at some of those teams that they've played. They've been some of the worst rushing offenses in the NFL.
Yep. The Cardinals,
so
the Jets.
It's questionable are they actually good, or are they, doing well because they're not necessarily getting a lucky break, but not playing the best quality, I guess. The Chargers, they held the Chargers to 42 rushing yards, but the Chargers are so beat up at running back, so beat up on their offensive line, and, a bunch of other teams. The Cardinals, they're just a lousy running team. The Bengals, what do they have going on? Like they have a lot of bad running teams on their schedule that they played against. And then in the last few games, when they've played teams that have a decent offensive line and a decent running game, like the Jets, like the Texans, and even the Colts. It wasn't 100 yards, but 89 yards from the Colts on it. Like, they've done well. The Chiefs had 7.2 yard average per attempt average.
Yep.
158 yards. There is a door there for the Broncos to run the ball. They just got to go out there and execute. That has been a big issue for them about it, with getting it done with the running game. We saw it happen against the Raiders, and the Raiders defense was actually, somewhat decent against the run. So hopefully they can carry over whatever that success was against them for this. My biggest concern with this Jaguars team is obviously the passing offense. Mm-hmm. With the weapons that they have, with, Trevor Lawrence, there is a lot of components here. I would love to see Denver throw some Pirate Texas stunts at them at this offensive line.
Yep.
Because when they've done that, when they faced it before, it's almost always led to a sack. The communication of this offensive line is absolutely terrible, even when they have their main starters out there. And they've had to rotate some players around due to injuries. So it is a very questionable thing. And, Pirate Texas stunt. Pirate is the linebacker. We saw it against the Packers. You showed that that double-A mug look, and then you stunted Alex Singleton after dropping Greenlaw back up around and looped him past the right tackle. That's a Pirate stunt. Texas stunt is that end comes inside of the defensive lineman. So you have that double cross with presumably Zach Allen doing that clear out and hopefully getting one of those guys open. So I'd like to see that wrinkle thrown in. The NFL is something where if you do something once, the opposing team always has to be concerned about it. Denver's thrown a Pirate stunt once, something for the Jaguars to consider, and it is something that you have to have communication on point in order to handle. That is going to be the key for this passing offense. getting after Trevor Lawrence,
Yeah.
but doing so in a way where you're staying disciplined in your rush lanes, which has been a significant issue with Jonathan Cooper over recent weeks, because Trevor Lawrence, he can use his legs, he can get out there, he can keep plays alive, he can even take off and use his legs. Not that he's a great runner, but he's an efficient one of the most efficient scramblers in the NFL. And with what Marcus Mariota did, even Geno Smith, Kenny Pickett, I believe, if I remember, I had a couple runs where he escaped through because Jonathan Cooper broke lane discipline. They got to play, and I said that this morning. It has been selfish football from Jonathan Cooper. You cannot have that against this offense.
You stole the words on a lot of what I wanted to say directly out of my mouth. I agree with you 100%. And the biggest thing here is I think that the Broncos, with their ability to win one-on-one against this Jaguars offensive line, and especially if Walker Little is starting at left tackle. Walker Little struggles so badly with speed rushers coming off the edge. Go back to that Houston Texans game in Week 10. I know that's a long time ago. It really is. We're week 15, right? Week 16, something like that right now. And what, 7 games ago? That's a long time. And they brought in Jacoby Myers to help open up some of the passing attack. But Walker Little, one-on-one against speedy edge rushers, talking about Danielle Hunter here, talking about Will Anderson from the Houston Texans. Those guys feasted on Walker Little. Danielle Hunter had 4 sacks in that game, and one of them came on a great stunt, similarly to what you were talking about, where it wasn't a pirate tackle stunt. It was more of an edge tackle twist where they ran Danielle Hunter around the a Texas stunt. Yep. So they run Danielle Hunter around the interior defensive lineman who takes out the tackle, and Danielle Hunter ran untouched to get a sack against Trevor Lawrence. I believe it was in the 4th quarter of that game, if I remember correctly. Regardless, there's an opportunity here with the games and the stunts, the twists, the pulls, the creativity that Vance Joseph has without even needing to blitz. You don't need to bring extra rushers against this Jaguars offensive line. They do a good job kind of winning up front one-on-one, but they've never seen a pass rush like this. The last time they did was the Houston Texans. The Texans are a great pass defense, or a great pass rush defense. The Broncos have 58 sacks this year. It's the best pass rushing unit we've seen probably since the 1985 Chicago Bears. Quite honestly, they're on pace to break that record this season. And I think that they're probably going to be able to do it. And against this team where you have the athletic mismatch, you have the technical mismatch, not only on the outside, but also along the interior with John Franklin Myers going up against what's his name? Ezra Cleveland. You got Patrick McCarry against Zach Allen. And the way they move those guys around and create mismatches, this could get ugly for this offensive line up front. And Trevor Lawrence, when he goes against elite edge rushing units or elite pass rushing units in general, he gets an extremely turnover-worthy prone. Like, he can throw a lot of interceptions, make a lot of critical mistakes. And that, to me, is the biggest advantage for this Broncos team in this game.
Yeah, and we have Todd saying Kelsey might retire. He spoke today saying that, not about that, but he's going to continue playing out the season because he added that he's not going to risk anything on a broken season. He flat out said he's not resting. Then I see conversation about resting the starters against the Chiefs. Only way that happens is if the Broncos clinch, and even then, I doubt they rest against the Chiefs. They may only play a half, but they're not going to rest. They're not going to clinch the division. They're not going to clinch the first seed and then rest for 2 games and then have a bye week and then go into that. Like, no way. Not with that's not going to happen.
You're talking about having your starting players take over a month of football off before they play their next game, because you got 2 games. You got the game against the Chiefs, you got the game against the Chargers, and if you get the bye week, that's another 3rd week off. You're talking 21 at least days before your next game. That's not going to happen.
And that is only if the Broncos, have everything go right. Browns beat the Bills. Cowboys beat the Chargers, Ravens beat the Patriots, and the Broncos beat the Jags, and they clinch everything. That is the only way it's even a possibility.
Yep.
I don't see that happening this week as much as I would like to, because I don't see the Browns pulling off the win against the Bills. They still have a lot to play for in that Chiefs game, because that can clinch them the division and the conference no matter what else happens, as long as they beat the Jaguars.
Yep. You have to win this game, like, point blank, period. And there's a lot of media members going around listening to the radio, multiple different radio stations saying, the Broncos are probably going to lose one of these next games. And if it's if there's any one that's acceptable, it would probably be this game. And the reason
I have a
why
little
I
bit of
say
pushback on that.
well, so let me finish.
I'll let you finish, but I have a little bit of pushback on that.
So winning 17 games in a row is what you're asking the Broncos to do at the NFL. The last time that happened, the only team that went 17-0 on a 17-game stretch lost in the Super Bowl to the New York Giants. That was the New England Patriots in 2007. So you're asking the Broncos right now, who are on a 12-game winning streak, or going into a 12-game winning streak, to go out and win 17 games in a row, and that 17th game would be the Super Bowl. That's damn near impossible. You're going to drop one somewhere, and hopefully it's not the divisional round. Hopefully it's not the AFC Championship game. Hopefully it's not the Super Bowl. If you can actually lose one game, this one might be the one of the most consequence, but the one you can still work your way around, because you have the Chiefs on Christmas Day starting Gardner Minshew, and they're completely eliminated from the postseason. They're going to come out firing for sure, but you're better than the Chiefs. And if you win that game against the Chiefs, you go in at home against the Los Angeles Chargers, handle your business. You win the 1 seed, you win the AFC West, and you're set up to go on a run. This one game right now against the Jaguars might be the one that is the most difficult, but I think you can still find a way to get yourself into that AFC West crown and the number 1 seed.
The Jaguars game is the worst game for the Broncos to lose out of their last 3.
Yeah. Okay. Now I think about it. You're right. Now I think about it. Yeah,
The
you're right.
the most acceptable game for them to lose would be the Chargers game.
Yes. Yep.
And that is because they've clinched everything at that point.
Yep.
And they may actually rest their starters in that one. That is the only acceptable one for this, because of how much the playoff picture shifts in the AFC if the Broncos lose to the Jags, especially if the Patriots, Bills, and Chargers all win. Because in that case, there is a path where the Chargers could end up being the 3rd seed, or the Broncos could end up being the 3rd seed in the conference, with the Jaguars being 1st or 2nd and the Patriots being 1st or 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
This has major implications on the seeding. This is the one game that they really can't afford to lose. And Chargers, they could be very well playing for a playoff spot at that point. And the Chiefs, I have no doubt in my mind that they would love to play spoiler, that they would love to walk in and beat the Broncos and hurt their playoff chances, and hurt their playoffs, or not playoff chances, but hurt the playoff seeding and the chances of winning the division and winning the conference.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just that. Before we get out of here, though, with the Chiefs game on it, since we're not going to be here for it, to really talk about that one too much, I don't see the Broncos having too much of an issue outside of it being a short week, and them, who knows what they're going to be doing, and they can get funky with it without Patrick Mahomes. And Gardner Minshew just has a weirdness to him. But it's an interesting one. I still think the Broncos will win that one. But before we get out of here, Lance, bold prediction for the Jaguars game.
Do you want to go offense first or defense first?
Just pick whichever one.
All right. So offensively, I think that you're going to see a laser show. Quite honestly, I think that we're not going to put up like 38 points. I have the Broncos winning this game handily. 23-19 is my official prediction. Make sure you guys go to milehighhuddle.com and check out the Mile High Huddle roundtable. 23-19. I know that seems close. It's going to be like a late field goal drive that gets it from 23-16 to 23-19. And I think that, quite honestly, this game's going to be over earlier than expected. I think that based on what we've seen from the Broncos' evolution offensively over the last handful of weeks, you're going to see 3 touchdown passes, a couple of field goals, or no, excuse me, 2 touchdown passes, a handful of field goals, and you go out and kind of show the world that you're actually exactly who you are. You're capable of winning a game on the offense. You're capable of limiting an explosive defense. And to me, that's the big thing. You're going to prove exactly who you are in the AFC, in the NFL.
Yeah, my one bold prediction I'm going to go to, it's not about, one team specifically, offense or defense. It's about the whole game in general. This is going to be the longest game the Broncos play this season.
Oh, yeah. Penalties. The penalties are going to be ridiculous.
You have the top 2 most penalized teams in the NFL and the second most penalizing reffing crew. This is going to be a long one. They love to throw the flag. They don't love, and there is a guy, I can't remember his handle on Twitter, who goes through and, letter of the law of the rules and everything like that. He doesn't look on if it's like, oh, you see a lot of players get away with this. Is it or is it not? Very black and white, a penalty. And he goes through and he rates the refs every single week on this. And Sean Hockley has like a 95% correct call rate. When they throw a flag, it is because it is a penalty. Doesn't mean that, some of those calls aren't bad calls, because, you see players getting away with it or doing worse and get away with it. But it's going to be a long one. I'm not looking forward to it just because of the holidays and everything like that. And I have a very busy week ahead of me with work and the holidays. But it's going to be a long one. I seriously put the over under on 20 and a half total penalties and 300 and a half total yards and penalty yards.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. Can I drop another one here, because this one's fun to me. The Jaguars have one of the best kickers in the game with one of the biggest legs in the game. Is he Brandon Aubrey? No, but Cam Little, man, he's got an absolute howitzer attached to his right leg. I'm going to predict a 60-yard field goal. We're going to see a 60-yard field goal attempt from the Jaguars in this game, because end of half, 60, at least 60. I'm not going to go 70 because that's just ridiculous.
I could see it. I could end a half situation. I could totally see them go for a 70.
Absolutely, me too. I'm not going to say that they're going to, but like a 60-yard attempt would not surprise me in this game. Also, I want to bring up one quick matchup here for you, because you and I, we talk about offensive and defensive matchups all the time. We talk about singular player matchups all the time. But I think that the big one here that we really need to talk about is special teams. Like the Broncos special teams units, they've gotten a lot better over the last handful of weeks. They were one of the worst teams in special teams over the first 6 weeks of the season. They've actually gotten a lot better, especially in punt coverage. But the Jaguars, Parker Washington, man, that dude is an electric punt returner. He is so good. He had a punt return touchdown against the Houston Texans in that Week 10 game. Multiple explosive returns. The way that they block it up on special teams, this team is so well coached on the special team side of the football. If the Broncos get into a punt fest, and I could see that actually happening, if the offense can't get going, and we have to see Jeremy Crush out there kicking the ball over the field, special teams could be a big time problem for the Broncos against this Jaguars team, because they do such a great job in the return game. It's really, really fun to watch, guys.
Fun fact: Jeremy Crawshaw is the only Bronco player who led his position in Pro Bowl voting.
He's been fantastic. He's been flat out fantastic.
Yeah, but I do have one player bold prediction for this: the Broncos hold Trevor Lawrence under 250 passing yards.
I could absolutely see that.
And the reason for this is Trevor Lawrence has the 7th highest first read pass rate.
Mm-hmm.
And when he is aiming for his first read, he is like top 5 in almost every single metric. If you can force him off that, he is bottom 3 in almost every single metric.
Yep.
He doesn't do well coming off that first read. He likes to lock on, and not saying he can't. There have been some explosive plays, but the consistency isn't there. His success rate is like right around like 22% going off his first read. It is really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with Patrick Surtain, I think they're going to be putting a lot of faith in Riley Moss, which there is a big concern here with Riley Moss on Brian Thomas Jr., even with PJ Locke over the top. That is still very concerning. I think that the Broncos are going to come in with a with a great plan using, Jahdae Barron, Chris Abrams-Drain, PJ Locke, and rotating guys in and out and throwing different looks. And Trevor Lawrence is great against man, but he has some issues against zone. Denver just went in zone 74% of the time against the Packers. It was like 90% in the second half. And look at what they did in the second half. 28 plays, 55 yards. I think the Broncos are going to come out, run zone predominantly from start to finish, and just create confusion for Trevor Lawrence, force him off that first read and get the pressure up front. And it's going to lead to, it's still a good game. I don't think he breaks 250, but I think it's close to it. It's still a good game, relatively speaking, but I think they step up and do the job. You mentioned your score prediction. I have Denver winning this 27-20.
Yeah, I can see a high scoring game. I can see a very low scoring game. I think 23 to 19 is probably about right. 27-20 would make a lot of sense. And again, guys, go to milehighhuddle.com. Check out the Mile High Huddle Roundtable. All of our score predictions, bold predictions are up there like they are every single Friday. So go and check that out. One last thing. I know we got to get out of here. You mentioned one player specifically, and with the way that the Jacksonville Jaguars use Travis Etienne out of the backfield, I'm curious how Vance Joseph deploys Jahdae Barron in the secondary this week. With obviously Brandon Jones missing the game, he's on injured reserve with that pec injury. You got to see a lot of PJ Locke. What do they do when they go into dime packages, and how do they try to figure out a way to get Jahdae Barron locked up on Travis Etienne? Because I think that's a mismatch for the Broncos, to tell you the truth, because of how athletic and how physical he is. Etienne is a great player. He's a great receiver. They use him a lot. He's the automatic touchdown machine. Like, he's having a great season. But I think you can mitigate him a lot by using Jahdae Barron in coverage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really curious to see. I don't know what the Broncos are planning to do with their secondary because of all the weapons that the Jaguars have and all they can do. I am thankful that Tootin is out because, man, the two back looks that they did, as much as I hate them,
They're so good, though. They're so good.
The Jaguars are so clean and efficient with it because of the threat both of them are and the threat both of them offer up. So I'm really curious to see what the Broncos do, but that is going to have to wrap it up for us tonight. But before we get out of here, we do have some final words. One of them, which we haven't had running across this, the bottom here, is you guys can super chat or star. Those are ways that are dedicated to us and help us keep the lights on. You guys can also become a member at MHH, become a MHH member over on youtube.com/milehighhuddle. And we want to say welcome to all of the members that we have here. You guys can also subscribe, like, and share. It's a way that helps us with the algorithm, especially on Facebook and YouTube, that are ever frustrating and ever being a problem and a headache for us, especially with so many other issues going on right now with Google and AI and all that. You guys can also go to Spotify and Apple Podcast after the fact or right now. Just takes a matter of time. Leave a 5-star review for a chance to win some gear, not swag. I hate saying swag every single month. You guys can follow us on Instagram at Mile High Huddle with an underscore between Mile and High and Huddle. You can also go to mhhmerch.com to get your gear on, not swag. Again, I hate saying swag. It's the holiday season. Things may not be here before the holidays, but they can still make great gifts. And, just because it arrives a week late or whatever, it still doesn't mean you didn't put any thought to it. Great gifts for friends or family who also happen to be fans of Mile High Huddle. You guys can also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Mile High Huddle, facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod, where you guys can get access to all of our wonderful, the wonderful community we built up over there since 2013. We also do have a Discord now that you guys can join and get access to that and chat our ear off through the Discord. The link of it is there on Facebook, and it also is in the description of the video, I believe, on YouTube, since we're not streaming to Facebook right now.
And you can also get it at Mile High Huddle on Twitter right now as well.
Yeah. Speaking of at Mile High Huddle, you also have at Mile High, the Twitter or X, whatever. You can follow us on there at Mile High Huddle, at DVDD_pod, at the MHH pod, at Erick Trickel, at Lance S_MHH. We are one of the many Mile High Huddle podcasts that come to you every night of the week and twice in the morning. I will be back on Monday morning and then back bright and early next Friday to hopefully talk about, the Broncos having clinched the number 1 seed and the division with back-to-back wins this week. Before we get out of here, I also want to give a shout out to Papa Bear with the $2 super chat, and of course Chris Hernandez again with the $200 super chat. We appreciate you guys so much. We appreciate you all. Hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Hope you guys have a wonderful holiday, whatever you guys happen to celebrate. But Lance, before we get out of here, any final words?
Yeah, guys, obviously right now it's the holiday season, but more importantly, college football playoffs is going on. Oklahoma, Alabama's on. I'm excited to watch that game. But I also have to give a shout out to the FCS college football playoffs, where most people don't know this. Most of my family on my dad's side is from Montana. And Montana State, number 2 overall in the FCS, is playing number 3 Montana in the semifinals of the FCS playoffs for a chance to go and play in the national championship. That game starts tomorrow at, I believe, 2:00 in the afternoon on Mountain Time. I am super stoked about that, and I would just want to say, go Grizz.
I was going to say, better be go Grizz, right?
It's always go Grizz. It's always go Grizz. Bear down, boys. Excited to watch that. Enjoy your guys' weekend. It's going to be a great football weekend. Obviously, the college football playoffs starting this weekend. You got a couple of games on Sunday or Saturday, all the games on Sunday. The Broncos obviously against the Jaguars. Just excited for this weekend, honestly. And go Grizz, bear down, beat the Cats, revenge the loss in the brawl of the Wild a few weeks ago, and go win a national championship, because the other side of the bracket does not look good. The Grizz could win a national championship this year, and I'm all for it.
Yeah. And with it being this time of year, guys, please make sure you check up on friends and family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reach out for help if you need it. Let friends and family know that you love them, that you care about them. You never know how much that can help somebody. We appreciate your guys' support week in, week out, day in, day out, with how often we do the shows. But this is a tough time of the year for a lot of people. A lot of people feel alone. So just make sure you reach out to them. If you are listening to this and you happen to be one of those, just know that we care about you. We love you and we appreciate you so much. And if you ever need anything, ever need somebody to talk to, you can reach out to us.
Yeah,
Twitter,
DMs are open,
Facebook,
guys.
Discord, even if through there. We are always, I don't want to say always open, but we're available and we will get back to you as soon as we can.
Yep.
And even if you want to talk about Broncos football, life, Star Wars, Pokemon, whatever, we're available for that, and just reach out to somebody. Family, let them know you love them, let you know you care about them, let them know that you are thinking about them during this time of year as well. We appreciate you guys so much for joining in on this wonderful Friday night. Make sure you guys don't drink and drive. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend again. Hope you guys, I know that a lot of people are going to be doing holiday parties over the weekend, so especially make sure you don't drink and drive. Call an Uber, call a taxi, call whatever. It is cheaper in the long run. Stay safe. And as my good friend Nick always says, choose kindness and compassion. And of course, as always, go Broncos.